Today, I had a conversation with Daniel from Chart Champions, probably one of the most influential cryptocurrency traders in the space. We talked about trading, we talked about life, we talked about spirituality. I really think you're going to enjoy this conversation, so make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, click that bell for notifications, because we are bringing you the juiciest cryptocurrency interviews here on YouTube. First of all, thank you so much for coming on. I truly am honored to have you on.
It's an absolute pleasure. I'm truly happy to be here. It's been a long time coming. A lot of people have wanted this, so here it is finally.
I know, man. So yeah, you're probably you're like a real OG when it comes to trading cryptocurrency. Probably one of the most influential traders when it comes to trading crypto, and a lot of people are probably influenced by you, and they don't even know that they've been influenced by your style
Mhm.
of trading. So I want to just get a little background on you. How in the world did you get into trading? Like, is this something you wanted to do when you were younger, or did it just kind of you just find yourself on that path?
So it's an interesting question. I actually, ever since a kid, I was always interested in like money and saving. So I don't come from like a wealthy background. So every like Great British pound from the UK, every pound for me was really important. And I was one of these kids that would get money for food from my parents and then save it and just try and save everything that I was given. So always from a kid, I was always interested in like saving money more than anything. I didn't really think though I want to be a trader or I want to be an investor, but I had that mindset that was, I want to try and make the most of my money and money's important. Um, and I got started first of all in the stock market actually. And that wasn't so much a choice of thinking, oh, I want to be a trader. I basically just had a bit of money. I actually started off with only £5,000. So I had worked up a little bit of money and I was like, "Oh, I want to invest this." Yeah, and I started to invest in different stocks. I actually got really lucky on Apple and Nvidia. So I've been in Apple and Nvidia since pretty much the lows. So those were like my two biggest ever wins. And over time, I just when I first started investing though, this was in a time of like a bull market, but there were pullbacks. And
How long
during
ago was this? Like
so
how
I
old were
actually
you?
started so just as I was turning around 18, so I got actually started in this around, 13 years ago, just over. So around 2010 to 2009 time, just with a little bit of like capital as thinking to myself, well, I don't want to just have this money sat in the bank doing nothing. And so I just thought, investing in what I felt was kind of at the time it was pretty speculative, but also like stocks that I felt were really valuable. For instance, my biggest win in Nvidia, that was because I've always been interested in computers. So for it was a fundamental decision, thinking to myself, well, Nvidia seemed to be the one of the only stocks right now which I believe have like really little competition, and I just felt fundamentally they're going to be very 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 big because of their lack of competition and because they're in a sector which is like so fundamental to computers and gaming. So yeah, I managed to get into Nvidia around like $3, and that's obviously worth like went up to like
Wow,
$500. Yeah.
that's wild,
so,
man.
so the reason that I transitioned to trading though, because even though my investments were doing well, I would receive pullbacks. So some days like 10%, other days 20%, standard pullbacks. But it always was interesting to me thinking, what makes this go down? So I had no insights. I had no, other people talking about it. It was all new to me. Like I didn't have anybody to talk me through it. So I just kind of become intrigued, thinking, well, I'm making this money. I'm also losing money. Like, what is the reason behind this? Obviously, I'm invested for fundamentals, but I understood there was a chart and there was a way to potentially read it. So that's when I become interested in starting to get into technical analysis. And just I read so many books, was watching just like random videos online. I'd take random sort of courses online and just trying to like absorb as much information as possible. I'd
Right.
done that for like a whole year. Um, and then I started to get more and more interested in it the more I learned. And yeah, and then it took me about 3 years of learning and practicing before I started to become like pretty profitable enough to go full time.
That's really cool. So you were basically just working a job and learning on the side, and then eventually you just made the transition.
Yeah, so I was in this in the yeah, working like a normal job, but I was really lucky because it was like a job where I could basically just be learning all the time. It really wasn't a hard job. So
Nice.
I was fortunate where I could just spend my whole time pretty much studying
Yeah.
and learning to trade. So I got lucky with that really, and my the people I was with were really nice. So yeah, I managed to do it in 3 years, but that was. I was content with that, and then obviously now I've been doing this full time for like 10 years. So yeah, and that's actually a funny story of how I got into cryptocurrency because it was Nvidia that got me into crypto because I didn't really follow crypto or anything, and then back in 2017, Nvidia started to pump real hard, and
Oh,
obviously
because
me.
the graphics cards, right?
Yeah, the graphics guys, everyone doing the mining. And so I was just oblivious thinking, wow, my stock on Nvidia is going crazy. Like, what's going on here? And then when I like done some research, I found out that it's because of Bitcoin and all these miners. And that's what then made me think, oh, right. So this looks interesting to trade because Bitcoin is even more volatile than Nvidia. um, and actually at the time of 2017, I knew I was too late to Bitcoin because I was like, "Wow, man, this thing is already up thousands of percent. There's no way I can invest in this or look to long this now." I felt I was too late, so I was actually waiting patiently to short Bitcoin,
Nice.
and I watched it during like September, October, November, December, and I took my first trade on it around January in 2018, and it was a short trade from
Perfect.
around $16,500. So that's my story of then getting into crypto, and that short actually managed to take that all the way down below $3,000.
That's crazy, man. Wow, that's like the opposite of most people getting into crypto who bought around 16K in 2017. Um,
Yeah.
it's that's an interesting transition. And now you're just kind of you pretty much only trade crypto, right? Bitcoin, altcoins.
Yeah. Yeah, so now I pretty much only trade crypto. I look every day at the stock market and the Forex market, and because they're
Yeah.
directly correlated to crypto. But now I pretty much only trade crypto, but I still follow the others for like maybe a long term swing trade. But for like day trading, it's only crypto. But
Right.
it was kind of funny. I remember back in 2018, like at the time, like being a bear, like being a bear, but thinking Bitcoin's going to drop, and at the time, all the time, like it was so much hate, like you're so wrong, you don't know what you're on about. Bitcoin's never going to drop, and then obviously when we dropped to like below $6,000, that's like
Yeah.
where I started to get a name in cryptocurrency.
Yeah, I remember that well. So my kind of story of getting into trading investing is basically I've always been like entrepreneurial. Ever since high school, I was like selling candy, doing like just starting businesses in general. That's always kind of been my thing, especially online. And I started to learn just about fiat currency and how, you know, it's losing its value. So when I first got married, like in 2014, I just started to stack like physical metals.
Hmm.
And then probably around 2015, I listened to a podcast. There's some like crazy bullish. I knew nothing about charts, nothing about fun, nothing. Right. I'm just a young guy, like, you know, haven't done any research. I hear a podcast. This guy's saying Bitcoin's going to $1 million per coin soon. And that's what put Bitcoin on my radar. And then I guess around 2016, I listened to another podcast. Me and my wife were saving up for a property because we wanted to basically live off the land. Like that's been our goal since we got married, to raise our own animals and grow our own food and stuff. And I listened to a podcast. I got super bullish on Bitcoin, straight up FOMO. I went home. I told my wife, I think we need to put everything we've been saving into Bitcoin. And typically she would say, Jason, you're so irresponsible, you know, we need to talk about this. But she immediately agreed, which I took that as a sign. So
Mhm.
we put about 40K into Bitcoin when it was around $700.
Oh, wow.
And we pretty much did like a 13x on that.
Wow.
Um, and that was enough to get us a property where, you know, we were able to like start doing what we wanted to do. And that's when I realized, wow, like there's a lot of opportunity to make money in markets. And that kind of sent me down the path of learning technical analysis, which was it was a very long path with many different chapters. But yeah, I mean, similar to you, like I just started reading and learning and taking a whole bunch of courses. And yeah, eventually I came across you, I came across your stuff, a whole bunch of other people, and I've just kind of been learning over time. So I'm definitely not on your level, but perhaps someday with enough experience, I might.
Well,
So
you actually made a very, very good choice of buying a property, because at least you cashed out your some of your profits. Because the story I hear, 90% of the time is people make so much money, and especially if you're an early investor, people make so much money, but they don't cash out because they just think, oh, it's going to go higher, it's going to go higher, and they never take profits, right? So to
yeah,
actually have the the wits about you to cash out and buy a property is really, really impressive, because most people don't have that emotional control when it comes to the markets, and they make loads of money and then they actually end up losing it all. So yeah, I think it's very impressive that you actually took some money out and bought a property. That's that's a very good thing to hear.
I mean, I look at the whole experience as just like divine intervention in a lot of ways because, like I said, I FOMO'd literally my whole life savings into an asset I knew nothing about, and I got out at the right time. And the reason I sold is because two things: one, I had a goal, and two, I was scared because, you know, back in December 2017 when we hit $10,000, I said this is too high. Like
Mm.
this is crazy. I have to sell some. And then I
Mhm.
remember like a week later we were at like 19,000, and I actually left the gym. I was at the gym when I got the alert or on Coinbase or whatever, and I went to cash out because I'm like, this is, I guess something inside me is just, this is insane. This is unsustainable. Like if I don't take this now, you know, what an idiot.
But
Even if it keeps
that's,
going.
yeah, that's such a powerful message, because I know that, well, I believe you're religious as well, right? So this is like so powerful that you had this like hidden, or this message thinking to cash out, and then you cashed out at the right time. That's really powerful. That's so yeah, that's just one of those things that you had really good, someone helping you out, right? So that's really powerful to hear that. As yeah, that you cashed out at like 19K. That's like basically the all-time high. So
Yeah, I mean, I
an
didn't cash
amazing
everything
story.
out at 19K. I cashed a lot out at 10K, and then
Hmm.
I by the time I got out, totally, you know, obviously I didn't sell the top, but
Yeah.
enough to do what I wanted to do, and still have a few bitcoins left over to mess around with.
Yeah, man. That's I love the story. I think that's really, really impressive, especially as like a, like a kind of beginner at the time for yourself, right? It's uh it's really nice to hear actually a successful story of somebody that got into trading, because yeah, the majority of the time, unfortunately in this space, a lot of people do lose their money. There's that's, I don't know whether it's a real statistic, but it's a statistic that's thrown around a lot, that 95% of traders lose money. Um, and I've been in this space a long time now, and I feel that 95%, a good 90% of it, lose it all because they have no emotional control. So they just, they'll end up buying at the highs, selling at the lows, that typical thing that you don't want to do, but people's emotions just get the better of them time and time and time again. It's like right now, right? Bitcoin's going sideways. The majority of the people are like bored, and a lot of people have left the space. But if we pump to, let's say, $40,000, everyone's going to be back wanting
They'll be
to
back.
buy again. Yeah. So
The
it
YouTube
just
views will be going crazy, man.
the YouTube, yeah, everyone will be coming back again. So it's like, you know, now is the time to get invested. Right now is the time to be interested in the space while it's sideways and boring, so to speak. But yeah, everybody does it reverse. They get euphoric and buy at $60,000, and then you know, no one wants to buy when it's back down at $16,000. It's it's just the way the market works. And that's why I love the market. I feel that's why I personally had like a pretty good edge in the market, and it's not so much from just the technical analysis, but it's actually just I had a really good way of just reading people's emotions and just thinking about the psychology side of the market of thinking. Wait, do you do Elliott wave theory? Do you know much about Elliott waves?
I don't. I do not.
Ah, okay, fair enough.
I,
Yes,
I know the
it's very
general premise of the five waves up and then the ABC correction.
okay, fair enough. Yes, it's very similar basic way of thinking with Elliott waves, because Elliott waves are basically, well, so we basically say Elliott waves are based off of the psychology of the market and the emotions of the market, right? Wave three is mostly euphoric, and then you get the pullback, so people are quote unquote like depressed. So you know, I was very early on using Elliott waves in a lot of my analysis, and I think that mixture of Elliott waves with um thinking like how the rest of the market's thinking. And if I know that 95% of the people get wrecked in this market, well, I want to do the opposite of what 95% do. And I was very good at thinking, well, everybody's ultra bullish right now. I need to be looking for shorts, or everybody's really, you know, bearish right now. I need to be looking for longs. And I was very good at like timing the market just off of, you know, having that kind of gut feeling into. Obviously, I had experience from the stock market, which I can't deny, like greatly helped. But I just had this early intuition of Bitcoin of thinking this market is so unique, because especially I'd say it still is, like this market is really amazing. I love it because I feel everybody is so emotional in this market. And the best and easiest ways to trade are when you're trading against other humans. You know, if you trade like a low sat altcoin where you're trading against bots, you know, it's a lot more difficult to know a bot's next move. But when you're trading against in Bitcoin, where the majority of the market are these emotional traders, it's very easy because, you know, humans generally follow the crowd, right? They all think the same
Right.
way. So it's a lovely market to trade, because I feel you're trading against like real people, and they're you know, generally pretty easy to read.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting. Like, when you consider how a chart is basically it's charting the decisions of millions of people who are making decisions all over the world. They speak different languages. They're in different time zones. It's actually quite interesting, man. Like it even gets a little metaphysical in a lot of ways. Like when you think about Fibonacci levels being respected. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy because everyone trades them," but the reality is, like, you know, if you're looking at an order flow chart, most of the people make the wrong decision together at the right time. And they don't know there's a Fibonacci level there. Otherwise, they wouldn't be, you know, longing into it. It's really interesting to see, you know, millions of people's decisions charted out. Um, it the more I think about it, the more I even question, like, do people even have, you know, the free will to do this? Like, what's making them do that at the wrong time, considering they have no idea, you know, there's a golden pocket there or whatever.
Yeah, I feel a lot of people in the market are just uneducated. They just throw money in and hope for the best at random times. They'll be buying and selling. Or also, you have to remember that the market's also filled by a lot of um, like you do have obviously big institutions in the game right now. So they using like still theories, and we can obviously see them in the footprint. So whether it's like a human trading billions, or whether it's a guy trading, you know, $10, you can still like work out what they're doing, or like see their, you know, like literally see their footprint of what they're doing in the charts.
Yeah.
So you know, when we can look at that volume, again, like why some people buy at these random places, yeah, we will never know. But you know, when we that's what I love about trading, because I feel a lot of people, again, like kind of inexperienced traders, they always want to be trading, right? They're always like anxious to take a trade, or they're looking at the charts 24/7. They got basically like a gambler's problem, like a pretty bad addiction to gambling. But when you actually approach trading in this professional mindset, like this is our job, we come in here to make money, and then we close off the charts. We have no this emotional. I personally don't have any emotional attachment to Bitcoin. I don't care if it drops. I don't care if it rises. All I want to do is make money on it. And
Yeah.
I think when you have that mindset of just approaching this like a business and you're in here to make money, you got to remember that everybody else is looking for a trade all the time. Like us as professionals, we're just thinking, hey, this is my area of support. This is my area of resistance, and I'll remain patient until those levels are hit. If we're going up, down, sideways, in the meantime, I don't care what the market is doing. I'll wait for my level of interest where I've got my technical analysis, and then I'll take a trade. So we have to be very patient, and this is what I see a lot with the newer traders, that they really struggle with that patience, and they're very anxious to to not be in a trade. They always want to be taking trades. They really don't have the patience that's necessary to be good at trading, and they end up losing a lot of money because they can't sit on their hands for a bit and actually wait. What we say is like, wait for the best trade setup. You are the casino. At the end of the day, I always feel like we are the casino. We are in charge. We can hold the cards. And so we're not going to take bad trades or random points where we've got no confluence and no high probability trade setup. That would be, not a good decision. But if we wait for very high probabilities, very good areas of confluence, then we are the casino. And again, we can never guarantee that win. There's no 100% in trading, but we can actually get really high win rates, 80% plus win rates, by just being patient, waiting for the best trade setups, and, literally just treating it like a business. Get your rise, get out, take your profits, wait for the next trade setup. None of this, oh, I hope it goes up, I hope it goes down, and, let's see what it's just, do the plan. What we said, trade, plan the trade. Then when it comes to your level, trade the plan. You win or you lose. That's Once you're in that trade, it's not up to you whether the market goes up and down. It's up to everyone else trading, right? But all we know is we've planned the trade. So now let's trade the plan. If we win that trade, brilliant. Let's take our profits and look for the next trade. If we lose it, well, what I'd always recommend is journal the trade, understand why you lost that trade, what went wrong. Okay, because in trading you can build statistics. And so journal the trade, record your statistics, and then keep a win rate of that strategy. And then if you lose it, record what went wrong and then move on to the next trade again. And so you're going for those trades, thinking about, okay, I've got 100 data set here. I want to take 100 trades on this strategy, right? So, if you lose one trade, it's, that happens to everybody. You can't control the market. So it's just keep trading, keep going on to the next trade, follow your strategy. And, that when you treat it like properly serious, you can have success. And I've seen people that have come in, they lost a lot of money. The majority of people that we see, they come and they have these stories of how they lost everything. They didn't take profits. A lot of people are really at that depressed, kind of really sad stage where they've lost everything. Um, and a lot of them also followed like the Moon Boys, etc. And they got wrecked. And and they want to take it serious. They see that there's a way, and they see like people, oh, this person's successful. Um, Obviously, we always say it's hard work. It's not going to happen overnight. But if you probably put in the time and study like you would a university degree, if you take it really seriously, then you actually can change your life via the trading. And the success stories that you've seen are real. I will preface that by saying, of course, there are scammers, so you got to do some research yourself. But you know, do your research and understand who's a scammer, who's not. But there are people that are actually doing this as a full-time job that are making profits. And when you see that, and use it as inspiration, and really set yourself to this game, I think trading is like the best thing in the world. Like I absolutely love it, and I know you do too. It's just this thing that you dedicate yourself to this, and then you can, well, make a load of money from it, work whenever you want, work wherever you want. And as long as you have a laptop, well, you're ready to trade. And I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, it is it is very enjoyable. Like I enjoy doing analysis. I enjoy looking at charts. And yeah, man, that's really cool. I was going to ask you, and you touched on it a little bit, but do you believe in the fundamentals of Bitcoin at all, or do you care at all, or are you just like it for the volatility?
Yeah, to be honest, I just like it for the volatility.
Yeah,
So I guess you know, I'm not totally ignorant. I understand its use case and how people predict, you know, X, Y, and Z prices. But to be honest, yeah, I mean, I do believe in the long term it's going to go up, right? So I do believe we can reach new all time highs again in the next bull market. So I do believe in the asset, but I'm definitely not like investing loads of money in this thinking, oh, you know, this is just my retirement plan. So anything like that. No, for me, it's just an asset to trade. I do believe in the long term it will go up, but I'm not um, thinking that when I'm approaching every day. I'm just a trader at
right.
the end of the day. And yeah, if it goes down to $1, for me, it's not going to affect my life in the slightest.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I see it from both sides. I hold Bitcoin long term, but at the same time, I'm not putting all my eggs in that basket. You know, some people look at it as like Bitcoin's going to like save us from like fiat currency and from governments and like all this, and I'm just, you know, I don't think that's going to happen. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting asset. So, how did you end up starting Chart Champions? Like, was that something that you set out to do, or did it just kind of happen? Like, you just had a whole bunch of friends that were trading, and then the next thing you know, you've got like a group, and then next thing you know, you got a business.
Yeah, so this was also a pretty interesting story, to be honest, because it all started out from early on when I was part of. Obviously, trading is a lonely game, so I was a full-time trader on my own, and you know, it is really lonely. You are sat in front of your computer all day, and you know, you don't have anyway. Me anyway, I didn't have any social life. I was just on my computer trading all the time. So what I was doing was joining like internet forums, just to like. I've always been a gamer, so I've always been able to make friends on the internet. And then I joined this forum. I've always loved forums as well. I joined this trading forum where I would just like speak and write things and talk about the charts. And the people that I come to know about and speak to, that they none of them really knew about trading. But every day I'd like post what I think is going to happen and like post it, talk about the charts and a lot of the people in the forum didn't really. It wasn't really a technical analysis forum. It was more like a fundamental speaking forum where people just talk about fundamentals. And I kept on like talking about the technicals, and you know there was like probably like three people that were interested in it, so it wasn't a lot. But these people were asking if I could like make a video.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
about it. So that's when I first made my first video about trading. It was just like literally like three people on a forum, and only one of them subscribed. So I had like one subscriber, and um, he really loved the video that I made. He was, I was really happy at the time because I was like, wow, I'm actually really helping this guy. There's some random guy on a forum, but he was really, he was like, wow, this is a really cool video. Can you make another one? And at the time, you know, I was just, you know, making videos just for this one guy, and that went on for probably around 2 months, just one subscriber, and he just would watch all my videos, and I would just explain to him what's happening, and then over time, just like naturally, it started to grow a little bit more, and I had like 5 followers, and then like 10 followers, and it really started to get big. Was when it hit around late 2018. So I've been doing videos for like a year, and I was like a really, like I was saying earlier, like touching on, I was a really big bear. I was warning people, yeah, $6,000 is going to break. This is just a matter of time. Like, be prepared for a drop. And you know, in the space where like pretty much everybody's a bull. I even received comments like, "Yeah, Bitcoin can't go below 6K because the miners will shut down, and it's not possible for Bitcoin to drop below 6K." And I stuck to my plan, and you know, just shorted every rise until we went below. And then obviously in 2018, when we finally went below $6,000, um, that's when my channel then started to catch a lot of attention. Of people were able to look back and say, "Well, this guy called the market. Like I traded it pretty well.
Yeah.
um, and that's when it started to become more like, well, now I got too many people wanting to take my time. 'Cause it's I was trading full time, and I didn't have the time to just be making videos for at that point, and I had a few thousand followers. And people offer like to pay. They really want to, people wanted me to do in meetings with them and just talk them through the charts for a week. And I had all these crazy offers. And it wasn't really viable for me to be going on to these places and teaching people in real life. It wasn't really viable, but there
Right, for
was the
sure.
demand. Yeah. So I actually, the way Chart Champions, or the first website was created, was this random follower um come to me one day and was like, "Hey, I've built you a website." And I didn't ask for the website. I had no idea that this guy was doing it, but he was like, "Yeah, I've built you a website." And I was like, "Oh wow." Thank you. And that was our first website creations from some guy, and it was really early. We weren't called Chart Champions at the time. Um, and then, yeah, then when we had the website, and there was like a monthly subscription and people were signing up, and then over time it just got really like bigger and bigger and bigger. And then, now it is a business. Like, we have employees, we have coaches from all around the world, customer service team. So now it's like a full time like a business, that, or a service for people. So people are now viewing it as like a service where they can come and learn to trade. And yeah, it all started out of just like the natural demand. There was nothing like it at the time as well. Now there's like 100 trading groups, right? But at the time, there were no real other people. So yeah, I think that's what helped it grow so big, because first of all, I think people could tell that I was like legit and not scamming people. And also there was not any competition. So um that has its positives and it has its negatives, because moving on to like 2021, 2022, I become very complacent. And that's what really helped me, was the other groups then starting up, and that gave me some competition. I was like, wow, I really need to up my game now. And I am a really competitive person, so having that competition, I think, is really, really, really healthy. And it really pushes you on, because I think otherwise, yeah, you can become a little bit like, I'm a lot of people hated me because of my ego. I'd always say I was the best and stuff. And that's something that I really learned to change. And I was yeah, I learned so much over the years, to be honest. And I feel like I grew as a person and made a lot of changes to my life.
I could only imagine going through all that. Probably teaches you a lot about yourself. So,
Yeah.
would you say? Well, I mean, you're a very successful guy. Would you say right now that you have what are some of your goals at this point in life? Like, you
That's sorry. Yeah, I was going to say that's actually a really. This is something that I was going through over the past few years, really. Being in this position, I've been very fortunate in life where I have enough money to not really worry about anything. And I've managed to buy houses for my family and myself. And I have you know I've done very well, where I'd say, like, you financially free. um and so that is one of the things I really struggled with, of feeling like, what is my purpose in life now? Like, what do I do now I have built this wealth? Because there's one hand, and this is what started to happen to me. I started to party too much and drink a lot. Um, and this is where my life was really on this. I felt as if I was happy at the time, and I felt like everything was just easy mode. Um, but then it really struck home to me that, like this, I can't be using my life like this. It's not actually it's not really making me happy, but also it's not a good use of, I have this gift in trading that was given to me, and or I worked hard for, let's say. And then I really felt that my purpose then was actually to, give back in the way of being able to teach people then how to trade. So now, like, I feel like my purpose in life is to teach people how to trade, and try and help these people that got wrecked and lost all their money to, help them turn their life around. via trading and actually making money in the markets instead of what the majority do with losing. So yeah, for me, like I would say that that's my motivation, and what keeps me going is just trying out new trading strategies, learning new strategies, recording statistics. It's very nerdy stuff, but I really enjoy it, and I love to have the community feel, and people are like waiting on my outlook on the markets, and I enjoy that kind of online community slash friends, and for me I really feel like my purpose is trading, and I have this nice gift of being able to trade. So I like to feel like my purpose now is to give back and teach others how to do it like I can.
Gotcha. Are you are you religious at all or into any kind of like spirituality?
So actually, this is something that I've been getting into more recently because I was always very much like atheist. But I've been things have happened to me recently which are bringing me towards God. Like I had these callings and these things that went on in my life that really made me realize, well, actually, feels like there is something higher out there that's helping me on this path, and that's really what also helped me like turn my life. I never went through like a too bad, but I really feel like went through something in my life that made me wake up almost and think, wow, I need to stop this partying and wasting my
Hmm.
life away, and do something good with it. And then some things happened in my life which were really bad. Um, but then through it, I learned so much, and I feel like I've come out with it now. Like if I look at myself from like 1 year ago, even the start of this year, I feel I've changed like so much, and yeah, I still want to change a lot more. But I feel I'm on a really good path now, and I'm really happy with the outlook of the future.
Nice, man. That's really cool. I consider myself a Christian. That's what I call myself if people ask.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but I had like I guess a similar kind of situation when I was in high school. All I wanted to do was be a musician, be a guitar player, and get signed and have a record deal and tour and all this. And I did, right? I didn't even graduate high school because my band was on tour and we were touring like internationally. We ended up with like a really good record deal, and we had a really good booking agent who would like get us to open up for like, bands that were on the radio and stuff. And I was living the life, and there was a time where I vividly remember thinking to myself, we were sound checking a sold out venue. I thought this is exactly what I hoped my life would be like. And then like something really weird happened to me, bro, where I just felt like I just felt convicted, I guess, about my lifestyle. Like this is not helping me. I'm going down a dark path. And I really started just seeking God. Like at that point, I really just there was a time where I would come home from tour, I would just lock myself in the closet and I would just pray for like
Mhm.
hours. And I guess from that point onward, like something really just changed in me where, I just say it's the Holy Spirit changed me. But from that point onward, the trajectory of my life completely changed. And it's so interesting because, like you said, you felt you've had a divine hand on you, myself as well. Because when I ended up quitting the band, I told the guys, I'm like, God wants me to quit the band. you know, they thought I was a nut, and maybe I am. But you know, I had nothing at the time, bro, because like I had forsaken all education, all pursuit of any kind of career to do this music thing, and now here I am, 22 years old. Most of my friends are like graduating college, and I'm like, living in my Jeep. And so from that point on, man, I remember I was praying like, Lord, what am I gonna do? Because I have no friends, I have no education, I have no job. And he just kind of told me, at least I felt, when people say God speaks to them, I just got an impression that he said, just put me first in everything in your life, and you won't have to worry about any of these other things. And that's kind of been true, because I didn't set out to invest in Bitcoin and be able to afford a property that I never would have been able to afford, or I didn't even set out to become a trader, or do any of the things I do, a YouTuber and have a business like that has to do with trading. It just kind of happens. Like, I'm like, obviously I put in I did the things I had to do, but a lot of people do
Yeah.
the things they have to do and it doesn't work out like that for them.
Yeah.
So
No,
it's
I agree. I feel that the more I've been like learning about it myself as well, that there is somebody, I feel like even for the people that aren't religious, I think that it's all about what I feel now is it's all about like as well surrounding yourself and having a good mental state. Like if you surround yourself with really negative people, then it's really hard to get out of that. And I feel that my downfall was really feel that like almost you could refer to it as the devil, right? I had these distractions or these people that trying to bring me down this dark path, and I kept succumbing to it, and that's why bad things happened to me. I feel that I had some really bad things happen, but it was because I made some really bad choices. Um, and then when I realized this, and it was like, wow, I need to make some really big change in my life because things are not happening the way I want it. And yeah, then what happened to me was I felt like I was having like a dream where I was forewarned in this dream that something was going to happen, and then it happened in real life. And then that's when a lot of people, and then my girlfriend is really religious as well. So I at the time I didn't wasn't I didn't have a girlfriend, and then when I met my girlfriend and she was really religious, and she was explaining to me like what's going on and what's happening, and I was like, wow, this all makes a lot of sense, and I feel it's like a really good way to live your life because I do think as well being religious does at least give you some values, and you try and live a very good life, and it's all about being a good person, right? And I'm not saying you can't be a good person if you're not religious, definitely not, but I do feel like having that gives you some values to live by, and you want to be a good person. So it's not about being selfish and egotistical. It's like open yourself up to help others, really want the best for other people. 'Cause I feel that was something I struggled with at the time. I was a little bit narcissistic, and I just really was not focused on the good things, and that is I really actually want to try and then help people and just do some things in my life that are going to give back, and um just really open myself up and be a good person.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, not only does it give you values, but it gives you value, like as a human being, as a creation of God, and not just as some kind of like random thing, that has
Mhm.
no purpose or meaning. Because if there is some kind of intrinsic value to a life because we're created, then that changes a lot of things. At least in my mind, it does.
Yeah.
And it does give purpose. It gives purpose in an otherwise seemingly meaningless existence.
Yeah. I agree with you. For me, it's just like a path that like I'm just more so getting started on, and yeah, it's one that I feel is really enlightening and like a powerful journey to go through. So yeah, it's like I want to like then now like read the Bible and get more into taking it, I don't know the right word, but more seriously, or diving deep into it. Because I feel I'm really early on right now, but I had this like calling and wake up that was, pushing me to search for more.
Nice. Have you ever read the Bible?
No, I've not actually. Well, I've started, but I've not read through it all. So this is like a new journey for me that I'm just going through now.
Nice, man. I'm actually like a huge Bible nerd. Like I've studied the original languages, and
Oh wow.
yeah, yeah. It's one of the things I'm quite passionate about.
Really
technical
positive.
analysis, Bible study, farming,
That's
all
really,
that kind of
really.
stuff.
Well, I think that's why I could like obviously I saw your video where you lost the money, but which is unfortunate. But yeah, when I watched that video, I could just tell like this guy's a really good person, and I think you carry yourself very positively. And even though you went through that really tough, there's a lot of money to lose. I
Yeah.
feel like you took it really well, and um yeah, for me, that was just felt like messaging you and be like, "Wow, that's, yeah, you really touched my heart with the way you went about it," and I just really felt, wow, Jason is a really good person. And so I really hope that I know you will. You're gonna absolutely continue to crush it and make it all back and more. And uh, everything. I think this is one thing that that I've recently learned, and it's just realizing. I'm sure you already know, but it's like everything happens for a reason. So that happened for something bigger to happen in your life into the future. So it's like one of these things where it feels really painful and really bad, but when you realize, this is actually going to help me, or this happened for this reason, everything becomes a little bit easier, right?
Yeah, for sure. And it's one of those things where I actually people think I'm lying about it because of how I reacted to it for the views or something, or for taxes. I don't know. But yeah, it's just like I look at it as kind of like a wake up call. Like when I found out it happened, I told my wife, and her response was, she's like, "Well, I guess God didn't want you to have that." And I'm like, "Yeah, I guess you're right." And obviously, I'm not going to say I didn't feel any negative emotions, like a huge sense of loss and like, oh man, I've been working so hard for this, and stupidity, feeling like, how could I have let that happen? Like, what an idiot. I kept that much on a hot wallet. And then, I was planning to use that, and then after the bull run, actually invest in some apartment complexes so I could have some passive income coming in. So I had grandiose plans for it and all this.
Mhm.
But like I said in that video, it was like I maybe subconsciously I was putting trust in that money, thinking this money I have here is going to be my ticket to security and a positive future, instead of thinking, man, I used to have nothing, and God supernaturally blessed me with all this. I should be trusting him for my future and not in this money. And I think that was a big wake up call for me. And even though that's a lot of money to lose, like for me it is, everyone is all subjective, right? But um I'm still so blessed, like in life. Like I have a wife, I have children, I have a little farm. Um, I have more right now, even after losing that, than a lot of people have. So I can't even be like, I can't be bitter about it, because I do believe there's a sovereign in control of everything, and I believe he has my good interest in mind. And how could I be bitter when there's somebody else out there who would do anything to have what I have, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's you got definitely the best mindset for it, and like you say, yeah, to be where you are still now, like to be healthy, that's the main thing, right? You're healthy, you're doing well. You've got somebody that loves you in your life. That is really fortunate to, it's a really fortunate position. A lot of people would be so happy to be you. So, um, yeah, I feel like that's always this thing that happens, that once you start to get money, you become like, it's almost like the devil there, right? You could become too focused or obsessed with the money, and blinded by money and greed. Well, I'm not saying like, but a lot of people get blinded by greed, and money is this really dangerous topic of, people become so obsessed with making more money, they become really blinded, and they change themselves. And yeah, I think to have like this, you know, loss of the money is like one of these things which is, well, for me, I went through something similar, and it's for me, it was just like a wake up call of just realizing, hey, Money is a lot of people also are trading just to make money, right? And I know I'm speaking from a position where I have some, but it is a realization that money is not the be all end all of the world. There are things that are much more important, and as long as we have health and happiness, then
Right.
um, I think that's the most important thing. And we want to make money because it helps you sleep at night, it pays the bills, it gets you, you need money to survive, but we don't need excessive amounts. You know, rolling out. We don't need those excessive amounts, so we got to do something with it, and yeah, not become too blinded by it.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I really appreciate you reaching out to me after the hack. You sent me the message because I really look up to you, like as a person, as a trader, and it was just really encouraging for me to hear you say like, "Hey, man, you're on the right track. You're gonna do well." I felt like, like I said, I feel like you were giving me technical analysis on life. You're like, "Don't worry, we lost value area high, but bet you there's a juicy long at value area low. Got some bullish CBD on life down there."
Amen, bro. Like, yeah, for me, honestly, yeah, I saw your video and I really felt like impacted by it, and I felt like I just really wanted to send you a message, and I truly believe that like everything is going to be good. You're on a good path, and yeah, I feel like sometimes losing that is that wake up call that you need to make a change in your life. Like for you, it's like just believing back in and putting all your faith in God, and for other people, it'll be they just something happens that requires a big change. And I think sometimes you just need that wake up call. And obviously yours was a very painful one. I can't deny, but I think if you take the positives out of it and you realize, well, you lost all that money, but it's not the end of the world, right? You're gonna make it all back, and everything is fine, and everything it will be fine. Uh, that's the main thing, that we got to stay positive, especially when it's so easy to be like depressed and sad about that. If you just, especially like, yeah, I loved what your wife said. Well, God said it wasn't meant to be, and just taking it like that is such a good way of viewing it. And I think that's really important to have somebody by your side like that. That's just absolutely wonderful. Really, really, really good to hear your wife say that.
Yeah, she is a huge blessing, man. Like, I can't even tell you. So that's another thing that I feel was supernatural is like, when I got married, I didn't know a thing about marriage or relationships. I FOMO'd into that too. And it's like in hindsight, man, I see a lot of my friends in relationships and marriages that don't work out. And I had no idea what I was getting into, but I couldn't have found a better woman to spend my life with. It's like, wow, like how did this happen? Because the our life when we got married was not even, it was not close to what it is now. And we also had very different priorities and goals in life. So we were somehow able to like change together without getting off track. It's very interesting. But
That's really beautiful.
yeah, man, that reaction that she gave me, it was very comforting because it's like I didn't know what she's gonna say,
Oh yeah,
I
it
didn't
could have been
know.
worse.
But yeah, man. Well, bro, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you're traveling the world right now, eating crazy food out there and wherever you are.
In Japan right now.
In
It's,
Japan, yeah. I saw this
I
thing
got
on
a good
Twitter,
time.
the squidgy thing with the strawberry.
Oh yeah, the mochi.
Oh, is
That is
that
delicious.
okay? What is it? Is it pastry or is that what is it?
Uh, I don't actually know how to make it. I think I think I read it was like some type. It's made with like rice. It's like a dessert. I think it's like made with rice, and then it doesn't taste like rice at all. But I believe that's how they make it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not too sure. But all I know, it's a sweet dessert that is absolutely unique, and it is very tasty.
Nice, man. Yeah. Well, if you have any final things you want to say to everybody, where they can find you, social media, YouTube, Discord, all that stuff, and any final words you want to leave with people.
Yeah, so if you want to see more from myself and the rest of the team, so across all social media and our website is just Chart Champions. We just do educational content and live trading. So if you're interested in that, you know where to check us. And I'd say for my final words, though, I'd really like to just say to everybody, that in trading there's a lot of pain and there's a lot of suffering, and there is, like there is in life. And I feel that if you always keep focused on your goal, keep focused on surrounding yourself with good people, positive people that are like-minded, that even the worst situations, and even when you're like real down in the dumps and really sad and low, use these people for inspiration. Keep yourself in a positive community. And I really feel that, use this. We're coming to the end of 2023, right? So just focus on 2024, and each day focus on being that 1% better. Small gains over the year, and compound those gains. Keep being positive, keep making small good positive changes to your life. And when you start doing good things just kind of like randomly, quote unquote, start happening to you. So yeah, that would be my takeaway message. Be positive, really try your best, help others, and you'll find, if you're down, if you start following that positive path, and happiness and helping, your life will, you'll receive that karma back. And yeah, that would be my final words. I really feel like I went through similar so that's the way I want to live my life anyway from now. And I kind of encourage others to try and think the same.
Nice, man. Yeah, well, everybody go make sure to subscribe to Chart Champions on YouTube. Check them out. Google, I guess, to find the website and all that. And
Yeah.
yeah, Daniel, bro, I have to say it's been an honor. Thank you so much for coming on. And maybe we'll do it again in the future, perhaps.
If the people want it, let us know down below.
Yeah. All right, y'all. God bless and peace.